La pivola.
Jacket. Janet.
Janet.
Kikarus.
Buena.
Madawika.
Kunamante.
Alito.
Sio.
Stongo.
Ansti Hunterish.
What am I missing?
Yate.
Yate.
Ainapi. Stongo Oshkin Yecha. You got any more? We got any more?
I think that's all I
I'm
got.
trying to learn more. So if you could comment your tribe and how you greet each other in the morning. Not every tribe has like a good morning.
Yeah, could just be a hello.
Yeah, like well, I know like Stongo, from my understanding, it means like kind of like I don't know, like more or less as a like how did you make it through the night?
Nice.
And or Iche or Stongo do es, Stongo do es. I don't know. That's just a little bit of what I'm learning.
You got them ways.
But people won Matsume. So yeah, coming live from 1950 South Shepherd here in El Reno. I've had a pretty good day. The baddest auntie and Resi Desi are in Watanga today for Men's Health. You'd think a man would have went, but I don't know. I don't know, like.
But the men want to see the aunties.
Yeah. The men want to definitely see the aunties, and the baddest one is up there.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they're having the greatest time ever. Our chili cheese tater hot tot. Esca is in New York. She went to New York.
Probably still packing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think she told me she's going to leave around 3 today. So.
Well,
she was complaining about packing.
I seen that.
She's probably still trying to figure out what to take.
But we wish her a safe travels. Hope she brings that good medicine home.
Yeah.
And I hope she takes that good medicine up there. She's going to speak to her old program.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. When you're able to do those types of things, and it's service work.
Absolutely.
I that's like one of my goals is to return back to Dream Recovery in Costa Mesa and get to tell my story.
Yeah.
One of these days, man. One of these days, it's gonna happen. I owe them a lot, and I still represent. Dream Recovery. With Connie Grimes and Todd Taylor. My boy LA, man. That's my dog over there. That's the OGs. So, do we have any good comments this morning? Only good.
Yeah. Francis said, "Good morning, brothers." He also
morning,
said,
brother.
"Someone say aunties," and Possum said, "Good morning."
Good morning, Possum. Yeah, brother. The baddest one went to. She went to Watanga today.
Yeah.
We all, like in CNA country, we all know each other. It's crazy, like how we all kind of know each other.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure you know Theta. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
if you haven't, you probably heard about her.
Yeah.
No,
but she's in Watanga today with Men's Health. So
the baddest one.
The baddest one. So yeah, just got through seeing my granddaughter Alani. I love that. My sister keeps both of my granddaughters now for the time being, and it's just it's a beautiful thing when you can turn to family.
Yeah.
When they can help you out, and it isn't definitely not the first time she's helped my family out. She actually helped raise my son.
Yeah.
And man, everybody needs my kind of sister in their life.
When you wouldn't want them to be anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely. So it is definitely a blessing.
Yeah.
To have somebody like my sister in my life. Even whenever I was ragged, at my raggedest, You know, she loved her brother, and you know, so I got to see my granddaughter just a few minutes ago, and that was you know, it's always a comforting feeling. So, you know, my morning's been going great, and then our very own Dairy Boy Darian Chabada is trying out for Ninja Kids.
Yeah.
Down in Peppa Pig World.
Yeah. He put out his video last night.
Yeah. He shared his video, you know.
Tryout video. Then was trying to complain around about his joints this morning.
Yeah, so but yeah, you know, he took some family time, you know, which is always, you know, self-care.
Yeah.
You know, that self-care. He had been planning this for a while. And you know, we're just glad he gets to experience it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll all most of us will be out next week.
Yeah.
With ceremonies and, you know, doings. And then so he'll be here. You know, he'll be here next week. So it should be Darian and Carmelo holding it down.
I'll be gone for at least 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I got surgery coming up. So if you guys out there say some prayers, that'll be good. That's coming up on the 23rd. So
definitely.
We'll see how it comes out.
Yeah, it'll all come out good,
yeah.
brother.
Yeah, I have that faith. I'm not really worried about it. I'm just, man, it was the first time. I ain't never had surgery before. So.
Really?
Nope.
And I've had about 10 surgeries my whole life.
I heard it's just some really good sleep, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I only had one.
You've already had one?
Yeah,
dude,
I had my appendix removed.
Oh, you had your appendix removed?
Yeah.
Too much sugar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said he is too sweet.
Eating too much.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Have all the faith in the world it'll come out.
Yeah, it'll come out good, brother.
Yeah.
It'll come out good. So has anybody seen Domingo White Man?
He was messaging the group this morning. I was surprised about that, but Des and Theta kind of called him out. So you knew he had to respond somehow. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know he was going to be out all week this week.
Me neither.
He's going to be out all week next week. So.
Do you remember a time when he used to like to participate with us?
Yeah, I know. He actually used to work here.
Yeah.
I thought I was bad with all the stuff that I had going on, but this guy, he just That's why I can't remember who came up here yesterday. I was like, I think when Theta came back, I was like, hey, she was like, where's Mingo at? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think he just comes here to do his Mingo stuff.
Yeah,
and
where
then,
his storage.
Yeah, and for his stuff, and then he just goes back to doing the other Mingo things. So I was like, I don't know.
Hard to keep up with that guy.
He's always all over. Always on the res.
Yeah, hopefully we see him soon.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully he doesn't get mad when we start moving his stuff out of the way.
Just make that Tatum's fest.
Kindly take over his, you know. Because when he comes in, he looks at her all crazy like, what are you doing? Like, you know, that's my spot.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're barely here, you know.
You're never here.
I think we should probably make that Tatum's desk.
Yeah, we can. We'll see if he shows up to try to fight it.
He won't.
Yeah, we know he won't.
Do we have any more comments, Patrick?
Yeah. Stacy Starr said good morning.
Good morning, Stacy.
Nadina Grant said good morning.
Good morning, Nadina.
Tom said good morning from New Mexico. Leslie said good morning, Brother Barry.
Hey, good morning.
Marilyn said Pivawana Indians. Drew said good morning, gentlemen, from Hammond, America.
Oh, no socks.
Nadina said prayers for your surgery.
Appreciate that.
Dave said on a scale of 1 to 10 of your pure ruggedness, where would you rate yourself now? Randy, Nalene, about a solid 8 still. Liddell still holding the lead at a 10.
Gracious, man.
Wait, repeat the question again.
Said, on a scale of 1 to 10 of pure ruggedness, where would you rate yourself now?
I say about a 5. You know, you find that balance. Yeah.
So if I've learned anything over these last 4 years, I found my balance.
Yeah, I found my balance.
I know when I can turn up the ruggedness, or I can turn
I don't
down the
get
ruggedness.
too far into being rugged, and I try not to slack off of who I am.
On his piece.
Yeah, but
You know,
don't test me because I can turn it up.
Yeah. Definitely. And I know when to turn it off. Yeah.
For real. That's funny.
So yeah.
Dorothy said, "Great morning, warriors. Sipping coffee in Lawton, Oklahoma."
Hey, thank you for tuning in, Dorothy. We appreciate you. You know, and the brother in New Mexico, thank you for tuning in, man.
Absolutely.
It's been, I went to sweat last night. I got to go sweat with my crazy uncle, Eugene Jr. Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, he cracks me up, and but man, I got to admit, that man is full of a lot of knowledge. He's been taking part in our ceremonies for 49 years.
Yeah.
That's hard to come by. And he's got these crazy remarks, and he likes to give hell, but when it comes down to it, man, he says some things, that stick with
you. Yeah, if anyone knows a balance of ruggedness,
it's
definitely Hammer.
But man, he had us all cracking up, man. He really looks after, some of my cousins. He really treats them good, and I appreciate that. But, yeah, we had a good sweat, man. And I was wondering, like, I was dizzy, I was weak. Like I couldn't figure out, like I just felt real dizzy. I'm like, man, I ain't never felt like that.
Yeah.
And then I went inside and I ate. And then it was like, oh yeah, I forgot to eat.
You didn't eat yesterday?
I didn't eat
before?
yesterday before. I had my regular bananas and oranges. But I didn't eat nothing all day. All day long, I did not eat nothing. Then went to that sweat. And it was a good one. It wasn't that, like it was extremely hot or nothing, but. And then there was something that was said about the songs. And the reading yesterday was about the song.
Right.
How those songs are made to help us get through. How them songs are supposed to uplift us.
Right.
And the words that are used in them are words that you would use to pray. So it kind of like came together. In a way for me that because I don't just like read these things here then think, like I see where these things show up in my life and where I get this information from, and the bro Pork Chop shared that with us.
Yeah.
And brother, there's a couple of brothers there, brother Chris, I mean, it was just, I don't know, like it was a good sweat.
Well, I think it's interesting now because we've kind of, we've gone through this book at least once.
Yeah.
At minimum. And to come back and hear, like every once in a while, I'll go back and listen and be like, okay, I know that we've said this one before. I'm going to go try to find it.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
And I'll go back and try to listen to it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's like I remember that. Is that Barry's still saying the same stuff? No, but no, you can see like how much like it's changed and how the perspectives have changed just from the experiences through the year that we've had, and relating it to meeting new people or going to different places, and just to see how far that's come, and just learning, like you said, learning from last night and hearing from people about how they
how this information
how they use songs and how they use it for prayers and things like that. That's all. It's just all relevant. It's not like we're sitting here trying to educate ourselves on this. This is all just our lived experience and things that we that's how we talk. So, but
it was good. I feel like we need to have more of a cultural backing. You know what I mean? Like people that are more involved in the culture. And I'd love to have my bro Craig on here, my bro George. But I don't know how. I mean, Craig, he don't mind, man. He's been public speaking since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But like I would love to have that that traditional, maybe holistic healing, of just that perspective. And we got medicine people.
Yeah.
We got people that carry these ways and live that life. So like I don't want it to be just a once or 2 week thing for us. Like where ceremonies are important.
It was 988 that had. You remember they had elders that they would call on if people were looking for that kind of help rather than like a talk space or finding outside counseling. Maybe we can make a list of people that would be willing to either just come and talk or maybe answer a phone call if someone has those kinds of questions or something. Or if they want us to be a mediator for them to ask those questions. Yeah, and I know Craig wouldn't mind that. I know there's others that wouldn't mind that. Even our brother Dave has some knowledge about that stuff, and he don't mind answering those questions. Yeah. So, even though Randy says someone needs to blackjaw him the first time they see him, so he said that after hearing his comment about his scale of ruggedness.
Well, there's also a part, because to me that's where it kind of like the discussion gets a little bit more interesting, because when you want to obtain information, you always got to put something down. Yeah. Like kind of, that's where that bartering comes in.
Yeah.
How much does it mean to you to want to learn these things? And I was told that, like if you just ask somebody something, you just see some, like, man, I put my bro Craig on, like I just, how do you say this? You know what I mean? And he'll send me back like an audio. He doesn't ever, he's not stingy.
Right.
And and we're bros, he'll always help me out that way. But it's like, for you to obtain this, spiritually, you got to put something down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told that's why you don't hold on to that information mentally, because you're leaving out the physical part.
Yeah.
The emotional and the spiritual, like you're leaving out all four phases, so, I was told you always got to put something down if you want to know something. Take an elder, you don't just go show up at an elder's house and, hey, like, how do you do this? How do you say that?
Yeah.
You take something, grocery basket, tobacco, just different things, and I was told, that's how you obtain information.
Right.
So it just becomes, like, there's more layers to it,
right.
than just having somebody waiting on this, maybe, like, I don't know, they might start talking about ceremony or, like,
yeah,
getting into these talks,
Yeah.
So,
well, Nadina said, Penelope and Johnny says, good morning, Dad.
Oh, good morning, babies. Those are my babies right there. I love the way that they get on their grandma's Facebook, and they're able to watch me, so
yeah.
Good morning, Hazepta and Benelopes.
And so now it's one of those times where you got to scale that ruggedness down.
Oh yeah, well, they're used to it. They're used to it.
Shout out to all the people at the Healing Together conference.
I know, right?
I know that we wanted to be there.
We got invited, but then once we seen the dates,
just wasn't gonna work.
Wasn't gonna work out. It's ceremony time. I was told it's time to sit still. Yeah. Sit still and pray for what's going on. Up there in Sealing, and just think about our people that way.
Yeah.
But man, I would love. I seen where Albert, all them were heading up there, and I was like, man, that's anything white bison, man. It's like you leave. The more people you meet, the more you feel like you've met family.
Yeah.
Everybody is in recovery, trying to bring some good medicine back to their community.
Right.
And it's like we're all learning from each other. So I love the fact that that's going on right now. Right now as we speak, and it's got to it. I had an amazing time when I got to go to the conference last year in Billings.
Yeah, and it just gives you some time to it's just a reflection time because you're around the community.
Yeah.
And they have that understanding of everything you've been through, and it's just a time where you can just kind of
iron sharpen irons.
Yep. Where you learn, and so
iron sharpen irons, and that's the beautiful thing about it. That hoop, that hoop has actually been to El Reno. Been to Concho. As a matter of fact, Dave's mom was a counselor at George Hawkins when that came through, and my one of my relatives from Thomas got to walk that hoop from like here to halfway to Yukon.
Yeah, I seen where it was his daughter said they were fixing to start that journey from Colorado Springs down to Ignacio.
Yeah, Kateri and
Kateri, yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool, but the way it all worked out was we were not able to, go this year, but I like seeing all the posts. I like seeing, everybody getting involved, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yep. Very.
So maybe next year, or I don't know, like anything that goes on around this time, we just don't really have the opportunity.
Right.
Ceremonies come first.
Yep.
First and foremost. So.
All right. What else we got? Levi Harjo says, good afternoon from Tulsa.
Stongo, Levi.
Definitely look forward to praying with you again.
Aho, brother. Aho. Yeah, that was
good. Kimberly. Sexton. Cassie B.
Cassie B.
And Cassandra, of course, says Pibawona guys from Healing Together Conference.
All right. Tell everyone we said hi.
She said you guys are getting a lot of hellos and prayers.
Oh, hey. Tell my brother Albert, Michael Duncan, tell all of them. I said hi. Send, tell them I said what's up.
What's up?
But yeah. A lot of good people that are involved, with White Bison. A lot of healing going on,
It'd be crazy if they just had us in like a big screen. Like everybody just sitting there watching, so what's going on? Yeah. Like
that'd be cool. But then again, I hope they don't.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. But that's Frida, the sister Frida.
Yeah.
They're having that conference, in her town.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool,
she opened up her house to anybody that wanted to come up there.
Yeah, she did.
That was pretty awesome. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah.
I'm hoping and praying, that one of these days we can have Wellbriety conference here.
Yeah. Remember we were talking about that after you guys were coming back from Billings, how they were looking for other places to go.
Yeah. We got Okana now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a thought, but I don't know. Like, it's we'll see. We'll just keep praying about it. Keep praying about it. We will.
All right. You want to read? Or you want to keep on having fun?
Who, me?
Yeah. Well, I'll read. Do you want to jump into the meditation is what I'm saying.
Let's go ahead and jump off into that bad boy.
All right. Still springtime. Just a few more days, I believe, coming up before that summertime.
Summer solstice is coming up. I think, what's today, the 18th?
Yeah. So what is it, the 20th?
Summer solstice.
Somewhere around there?
20th.
Yeah. I think we
longest day of the year.
Yeah, we're in here. We go to summertime in
June 21st, I believe.
Yes, sir. So today's reading comes from Sitting Bull. Yeah, June 21st. It says, I am particularly fond of the little groves of oak trees. I love to look at them because they endure the wintry storm and the summer's heat. and not unlike ourselves seem to flourish by them. Every season, spring, summer, fall, and winter, has gifts that it gives to all creatures. The animals will develop thicker furs just before winter and will shed this fur in the spring. Squirrels will store their food in the fall. Other animals build up fat so they can hibernate during the winter. We can watch all forms of nature and see all creatures work in harmony with the seasons. The secret for us is to learn by observing nature. Watch the trees, learn from them. We human beings need to learn the gifts and blessings of the seasons. Grandfather and grandmother, teach me to live in harmony with the seasons. Mr. Botone?
Almost called you Mr. Ciabatta.
Oh,
Mr. Rivelis, thank you for reading that.
absolutely.
Well, you do kind of remind me of Mr. Ciabatta, but see a ninja kick. Yeah. But you know what was coming to mind, you know what I wonder, you know, like I remember a few times in my addiction, you know, noticing there's these cedar trees that were growing in front of my brother Lorenzo's house. You know, the cedar trees, so you can't really see the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sit there, you know, and just kind of notice things, you know, like I noticed wherever the sun was at, these trees, like that's the way they were reaching.
Yeah.
You know, like if I came out there like in the morning, they'd be reaching this way. And then like as the sun went over, you know, you'd watch them reach this way. And that's, you know, and I was pretty young when I noticed that. And, you know, like I remember just like different times in my life where I noticed, you know, like one time was in Wisconsin. There's these trees where the stalk, or not, they were flowers, and the stalk would grow, like, you know, like all the leaves stay at the bottom, and the stalk would grow, and before it bloomed, you know, like it was just the bulb, and you could obviously tell. Like I would come and look at them at different times of the day, and you could see them things like wherever the sun was, you know, they would be reaching.
Yeah.
You know, like they'd be like this in the morning, and then in the evening time, you know, they'd be leaned over this way. And I'd even go look at them when when it was dark, you know, and they would kind of, you know, like rest, like they were resting. And, you know, in Wisconsin, they have very short seasons, except, you know, winter's long.
Right.
You know, their spring is short, their summer's short, their fall short, and then bam, it's winter for 7-8 months, you know, like, and then you get to Oklahoma, and, you know, whatever season it is, it's always the extreme, right?
Right.
And then I think about like where my life is. I'm in my 4th year of sobriety. You know, I'm in the winter season of my sobriety. So, you know, I think about that first year when I'm on that pink cloud. You know, you're learning how to be yourself. You're learning what self-care is.
Yeah.
You know, and then you come into that summer season, and, you know, the ideals and the things that you thought about, you know, you're able to implement these things into your life. Mm-hmm. Like you start to turn like these thoughts and these feelings, these good thoughts and feelings, you know, you're able to build on these things, and you're able to, you know, watch these things grow as the summer goes along.
Yeah.
You know, my 2nd year of sobriety. And then the 3rd year, you know, when it comes to fall, you know, something greater is coming. You know, you have to get ready. You have to be prepared. You know, whether it was growing thicker fur,
storing food,
you know, maybe it's you know, definitely putting on fat.
Yep.
for that hibernation. But when I think about my life right here, right now, it was a blessing in disguise happened right in my life. And what was able, things that I had been praying about, these seeds that I had been planting, all this time, praying for my grandkids, praying for their mothers, praying for their mother, praying for her mother.
Yeah.
Wondering what this was. I knew what was bothering them.
Yeah.
And you always just pray for healing and solutions, and whatever that's got to look like. And it presented itself. So my sobriety was able to show up.
Yeah.
My recovery was able to offer help. And through my experience, strength, and hope, I'm able to reach out and hopefully, guide the people that need the kind of help that I can offer. You know, uh, uh hopefully show them a way out. And
Right.
it makes sense to me to see where my life at in what season. Just because it's summer doesn't mean my life is in summer season.
Right.
It's definitely winter for me right now. We're gonna sitting, calming down, and trying to keep my family close, and trying to implement new ideas, trying to do some planning for the future. When this season ends and that spring comes around again, I think we're going to be in a new chapter in all of their lives. And the thoughts and feelings that they've been holding down, their true selves are going to be able to bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Their authentic self is going to be able to come to the surface.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a whole community of people, that's sitting here waiting on them.
Right.
And I when I think about where my life at is in its season, that's what comes to mind. And like it says, nature is our best teacher. You can see how the bad is interconnected with the good. When you watch that grove of trees, they all communicate, they all talk to each other. And I that's the beautiful thing about them. I bet you there's trees from Canada that can talk to the trees in Mexico. Like that's how my mind thinks. That's how that's how I was taught.
Right.
Only 1/3 of the tree is above ground. The other 2/3 of that tree are underground, and there's a root system where they're all interconnected. They all, and it's been proven, scientifically. If a tree if it's lacking some kind of nutrient, all these other trees send it those nutrients.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing, to think that, when man gets in the way, when you think about being native in today's society, you think about what it is to be indigenous, to be Cheyenne, and the two worlds always clash, right? Like, it gets tough, to start to understand the difference. But once you're able to, I feel like build your relationship with the Creator, and you ask for that guidance, that's when you start to, you got to open your mind, and you got to open your heart. You got to understand that we didn't have books, we didn't have social media. Like our ancestors, like all they had was nature, all they had was Mother Earth.
Yeah.
you know, and look how long that brought us. You know, thousands and thousands of years ago. You know, we still got our ways, we still got our songs, we still got, you know, some ceremonies. You know, we still got something to hold on to. And you know, the way I see it is, you know, it's ours to take care of.
Yeah.
We got to take care of it, you know, because I want my grandkids to have that. You know, so trying to understand, you know, what is the natural law about the seasons say? You know, what is the natural law about the seasons in your life? You know, where are you at in your recovery? You know, are you able to recognize when the seasons change? Are you able to see when you know when the creator's trying to trying to show you something?
Yeah.
You know, like you know, when it gets hard, you know, where what do you turn to? You know, I used to turn to anger, you know, fear, uh, you know, shame, guilt. You know, it was hard for me to forgive.
Yeah.
You know, but today, you know, I found love. You know, compassion. You know, empathy. You know, accountability. You know, like just humility, willingness. You know, like I found forgiveness because if I can forgive myself for the things that I've done, I can forgive anybody. You know, because nobody else did me dirtier than I did me.
That's right.
You know, so you know, it's just being able to recognize these things.
Yeah.
That within itself is a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, and if you've never thought this way, just think back on your life. You know, your life was happening in seasons. You know, but you know, I really didn't notice until I got sober and I got that clarity.
Yeah. The
So
recognition. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes, just being able to have that understanding that of where my life is and where it's going and what season is it in. You know, and you know, like I feel like all the work that I've done have built me up for this winter season. You know, like this is what I've been waiting on.
yeah.
You know, this is where I'm able to use my tools. This is where I'm able to uh, question my values. You know, if need be. You know, question my beliefs if need be. You know, like am I still self-seeking? Am I still you know, I like to find the bad in everything first. It used to be one of my bad habits.
Yeah.
You know, today I look forward to having, you know, ceremonies. I've learned how to leave all my problems there. You know, so my faith, you know, my faith has shown up where I fell short. So
Yeah.
that's all I got.
That's good. It's good, brother. You touched on a lot of things there. One of them that was kind of what I was thinking about when I read this today was, everybody knows about the four seasons. Um, Everybody knows what goes along with it, with spring being growth time, summer kind of being um, the the what's I can't forgot the word for it now. It's not fall's preparation time, and winter's kind of just being still time and learning from the rest of the year. But I was equating it to how we as humans we go through seasons of life, and you touched on that a little bit. It's like you have to be able to recognize what season you're in. Um, you could be going through a season of grief. You could be going through a season of depression. You can be going through a season of recovery. You could be going through a season of just happiness. But to develop your mind to where you can recognize that when that begins and when it ends and when your next season is starting and how you're preparing yourself for that is kind of key in how we try to help people understand how they can grow. And I think that we've started to recognize that more as we've been going through our own seasons and going through our own seasons of growth and things like that. Like I have, there's people that reach out to me all the time and ask me different questions about what it is they may be going through in life and how they can get through it, or how they can, figure out how to not even just get through it, maybe even just live with it. Because there's some things that you're not going to be able to get over for a long period of time. Like I still grieve the passing of my mom. That's never ever going to go away. There's always going to be memories. There's always going to be something that comes up that's going to, like a trigger that's going to bring up, that's going to bring up sadness. It's going to bring up loneliness. What you learn over time is how you can be prepared to face that grief, to face that loneliness, or face that sadness. And I think that goes along with having that relationship with the Creator and being able to pray and over time and strengthen yourself over time. And I heard a saying last night is that everybody prays and hopes that that God is hearing from you, but not everybody will pray until they hear from God. And you can't limit yourself to your conversations with Creator. You can't limit yourself with your conversations and your communication with God. That's why we say that's how you need to start your day, and that's how you need to end your day. And no matter what kind of day you went through, you could have had the roughest day in your life, but you have to still find a way to be thankful for it, because you're still growing, even if you're having the roughest day of your life. To be able to find that gratefulness, even in your seasons of trial, even in your seasons of uneasiness, is it's a big thing for you to be able to show your own growth. And if you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to come back and teach it, especially to younger generations. And I think about that when it comes to my own children. Is like, man, we could be going through some of the hardest things in the world. I was like, but just for them to be watching you, which they're always watching you,
yeah,
and how you respond to whatever it is that's going on in life, whatever it may be, to see how you're responding to whatever that may be, is how they're going to recognize how strong you are, or how strong they can be at the same time, if not stronger over time, because you're not the only one going through it. Especially if you have kids, they're going through it too.
mm-hmm.
And they're going to latch on to your strength in order to try to help them get through whatever it is they may be going through. So but yeah, that's what I kind of got out of it today, is you have to be able to recognize your seasons. You have to be able to know like how far you're going to learn from it, and then be ready, because your winter time is going to come.
Yeah.
And whenever that winter time does come, everything that you did during spring, summer, and fall time to get you ready for your winter time, and to be able to start being able to use what you learned and to go back and be able to help people, or to be able to help yourself. That's just a real key aspect, and I think in how we're trying to portray what seasons really are and how you can get through it. So,
mm-hmm.
but that's my words.
That's good. That awareness.
Yep.
That awareness is very important. Very important. And so do we have any more comments?
Bo Sam said, "Good morning, guys."
Good morning, Bo.
Marion Jackson said, "Good morning" from Quill. How do you say that?
Quillette.
Quillette.
It's Quileute. I think that's Quillette. Quillette or Quillette.
And Patrick Medicine Bird said, "Hello, y'all. Prayers for the people."
Hey.
CHS said, "Blessed day from New Mexico. 967 days clean."
Hey, all right. Hey, good morning, brother Pat. Yeah. Hey, and we appreciate you sharing them days with us.
Absolutely. We love hearing about everybody's days
journey.
Because
anybody else?
That's about it. I mean, do you want me to go up?
I mean, were there some?
I know that
we miss.
J-Bo was saying that prayers for everybody that are heading up to Ethiopia.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially those that still haven't left and you're about to leave. You guys be safe out there. We're praying for you always.
Take some pictures. Put them on Facebook. Yeah.
It's beautiful up there, man.
It is.
I love
seeing
everything.
You ever been to the SIOUX? I've never been there whenever the river was flowing. I heard, like it's pretty intense.
Hmm.
Whenever the river is full. When I was there, you could walk all the way down inside that little cave opening, and we were like literally standing feet from where that water goes.
Hmm.
So I was told that they've tried to send things down to see where that water goes.
Yeah.
And they don't know.
They have no idea.
No idea where that water goes. So yeah, I mean, 1 year Will was telling me that a ram, one of them mountain goats or whatever, a ram came down and was ramming KK's car.
Oh.
And she started crying.
Oh my goodness.
Freaking out, didn't know what to do. Was just sitting there letting that sheep ram her car.
Probably the airbags didn't go off or something.
But yeah,
I guess it's pronounced Quilliute, is what they said. Quilliute. So, sorry.
that's cool. Well,
we're learning.
Thank you for tuning in. Yes, thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely.
We
Thanks
appreciate
for tuning
that.
in. Miss Dina says 11,268 days.
Hey, all right. Wow. That's some time right there. Definitely some time.
And Cassie said Dave Levi just walking around with stink knees from Black John or hands.
Hey, y'all DM each other.
Yeah. No, don't be putting your business
having
out here.
Out here on our chat. Well, what else do we got this week? Juneteenth is tomorrow.
We're off tomorrow.
So I might still come and do the live, though.
Cool.
I might still come and do the live. But yeah, we got Juneteenth tomorrow. So I might still come do the live, and then the 20th will be Friday, and yeah, that's probably be my last live for probably for like a week and a half.
Yeah, I figure you probably won't come back to at least Wednesday. So,
well, I got my doctor's appointment on the 1st.
Yeah.
So I go for my next eye appointment to figure out when I'm gonna have my next surgery. Then we're just all beat up over here.
I know.
We ain't no spring chickens. I know that.
Well, all us older ones are all beat up.
Yeah.
Having to get things checked out and everything else.
Yeah. Going blind.
Yeah. Well, July 1st is that first concert too. So hopefully, man, I'll be praying for you for your stuff. I know that you've been doing good in keeping your faith and keeping that focus. Sure. So on your whole eyeball situation, I love, man, like everywhere we go, my girls, where's Uncle Eyeball? Where's he at?
Yeah.
And then they see you, they're like, there's Uncle Eyeball. Well, go say hi or do something. Like, he won't know who you are until you get all the way over there. I was like, but he'll be happy to hear from you. They're like,
for sure.
Yeah, so it's just funny to me. I'm like, man, that's like they've met you like 3 times, and like ever since the Uncle Eyeball.
I'm that uncle. Yes, I'm that uncle.
And I know James just jealous because my girls could care less if he's around. I'm like, no. Oh, that's just Uncle James.
Yeah, he's no fun.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's our uncle.
But do we cover all the comments?
He's not really blind. He's having problems with his.
My eye got shot out. So.
Your what?
My eye got shot with a BB gun. Yeah, I can't see anything out of this eye.
Me either.
Man. Well, you need to be over here then.
Yeah, you're a poster child with me.
A poster.
Yeah, that's what happened to my eye, and then this eye, my retina got detached.
This one is bad. This one it's blurry and it's black. So
well, try that.
Yeah. Look through that and see if you can see better.
Other side.
Is that? Oh, I didn't even know that said that. No.
I can't even see out of it.
Bo Sam says they have 5,113.
Oh, days. Hey, all right. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Do you know what time you're going to try to get on here tomorrow?
Not quite sure. I'm gonna sleep in for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe around noonish.
Okay. If I get out of I have an appointment, my pre-op appointment tomorrow in the morning. If I get out, I can come if you want. Maybe you and Nat could sit here and I could produce.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe Nat will
or
come with
vice
me.
versa. So,
but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully the ladies, the baddest auntie
and Resi
Desi are having a good time, enjoying the hutches in Watanga.
Yeah.
And then
they were all surprised yesterday because I was telling them about Darian's infatuation with the ranch over there. I was like, he gets 2 chicken strips and like 4 things of ranch.
Yeah, overrated. But then, you know, I hope chili cheese, tater, hot tot, Escott. I hope she has a safe flight to LaGuardia today.
Yep.
And, you know, if you're out and about, you know, I hope everybody, you know, if you're on your way to Etiti, you know, I hope you have safe travels, you know, bring, you know, them good blessings home. Yep. And, yeah, so, you know, I hope everybody at the healing conference in Colorado, you know, I hope everybody is, you know, some good fellowship going on, some good healing.
Right.
Maybe, like I said, iron sharpen irons, you know. So
they're still having the meeting tonight, the women's meeting tonight at 6.
Yeah, women's meetings tonight at 6.
Here at 1950 South Shepherd in El Reno. So
Still
you ladies come out and cry that Tatum's not here. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, Darian will be back next week.
Yes.
And
the rest of us will be gone, but Darian will be back.
Yeah, Darian will be back.
You can sit here with Patrick and do the live.
Well, that's all I really got.
Oh, Phyllis the Realist got on for us.
Good morning, Phyllis the Realist.
So did C-Dump.
C-Dump. So, but yeah, like, share, follow. Like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us, you know, and hopefully, you know, we will see you tomorrow. So I hope.